Hi there and welcome back to The Player. And today, well, you're probably wondering why I've got a second-hand car and not a brand new car like we normally review. Well, I got to thinking maybe it was about time we had a look at the second-hand car market, because it's a huge market, especially when it comes to cars like this particular car, which is the Vauxhall Corsa. And this isn't any old Corsa, this is the 1.2 limited edition. And the reason I've got this car today is because it is one of the most popular super minis in the UK. And it's got its popularity through a lot of teenagers who are about to take their driving tests. It is absolutely perfect, not only as a second car for the family, but for that teenager passing their test. It looks cool, it goes okay. Well, let's take a look around it and see what we think of the Vauxhall Corsa 1.2 limited edition. So what makes the 1.2 limited edition stand out from the other Vauxhall Corsas? Well, one thing you do get, first of all, is a little limited edition badge here. But that's not the only thing, obviously. You get these amazing black 17-inch alloys. They really are synonymous with the limited edition models. This also has quite a nice sort of sporty look to it. It's got the body kit, as they say, as part of the package, and you get sport suspension with it as well. Looking around the front, well, you don't get LED headlights, but you do get LED running lights. Changing those bulbs is difficult one side to the other, but it is possible to fit an LED kit to it. You get fog lights with it, which is quite a nice little extra, and you also get, again, this sort of lower bumpered bit at the front, and it does look really nice. Let's take a look under the bonnet. I'll explain the differences in the engines and the insurance groups, which is going to be the most important thing. Let's take a look under the bonnet and I'll show you what the engine looks like. To undo the bonnet, it's down here on the passenger side. There's a lever just under there. Very easy to open this bonnet as well. Just slightly offset to the right is a little catch. Just lift it with your finger, push up like that. Very simple. There you go, nice and safe. This is the 1.2 Ecotec engine, developed by Vauxhall, and it's a superb little unit. It's quite economical. This particular car is getting around 37-ish to the gallon. On the 1 litre version of this, which is the other option, the slightly smaller, even though it's a little bit more powerful on the pull and the actual torque in the engine, you get nearly 50 to the gallon. And then on the 1.4, slightly drops again, and again you're jumping up in the insurance rating. So in the 1 litre, it's actually insurance group 2, which is probably, well, Group 1 obviously is the lowest, Group 2 is very good. And this particular car, the 1.2, is Group 3. So again, really good. We'll talk about insurances when we get out on the road, because I'll explain a little bit on how to insure this car, because there's a number of different ways. There are no diesels in this range, in the limited edition range. So if you're looking for economy, big economy, you're not really going to get it. But who needs economy when you've got a lovely little unit like this? Let's go and have a look round the back and see how much you can get inside this car. Round at the back of the Corsa, it's still good looking. You get tinted windows all round with the limited edition. It's another thing you don't get on the lesser models. You also get, as we mentioned in the beginning, the body kit. So this gets a rear diffuser, and it also gets a nice little stop and tail in there. On the back here, you get a wash wipe, and looking at the rear clusters, they're not LEDs, but they are slightly darker. They do look the part, and you get a nice chrome tailpipe at the bottom there. Let's take a look inside, just underneath here, so behind the Vauxhall logo, and there you do see it's a decent sized boot. A little bit plasticky here, and it's got quite a high lip, so inside there's quite a drop. But looking at it, it's only just above my knee, so if you're going to pick anything heavy up, and to be honest, this is either going to be a second car or for the family, or it's going to be a learner's car, so I doubt there's much going to be going in and out of here. It comes with the dreaded parcel shelf, which, to be honest, if you own one of these, I would just simply get rid of this when you buy it. I'd throw it, but I'm not going to, because it's not my car, so I'm going to carefully place it round there, and it can stand like that. Good. Right, let's take a look inside. So it's a decent sized boot. You've got a couple of big tether points in here. What you don't get with this car, and I think this is almost criminal, they don't give you a spare wheel. It's just this stupid, look, I'm going to show you guys, look, it's a pump. I mean, what are you going to do with that? if you hit an alloy on one of these and you completely bust it, you're going to be stuck on the side of the road waiting for the emergency service for hours. You're not going to be able to pump it up. I just don't get that. So all of that has been put in there, and a nice kit. Look, and you get your sort of like stuff that you put into the tyre when it's blown up or whatever. It's all great if you've just got a puncture. But if I've just got a puncture, I'll go into a tyre place and get it fixed. I wouldn't even bother sticking all that in. Right, good thing about this is the seats go down at the back, and I'm going to demonstrate that. There are 2 levels as well, so the passengers in the back can have it at a different level, so you can slightly move it forward. And all you do is you just release the 2 levers either side, make sure the seat belts are, and check that out. I mean, look, that is huge for a Super Mini. It's absolutely humongous. I'm well impressed with that. So far, this car really does tick all the boxes when it comes to not only second cars, but also for younger people who want to get a bike in there, for example. You're going to have to take the front wheel off, but you will get it in there. It's brilliant. And it's got just all-round lovability. That's what I love about the Corsa. Let's jump up front and see the standard bits that you get for your second-hand value. And that's what we're going to talk next. Right, let's take a look up front, and on the way there, well, check out lovely black roof. I really love this. It's very unique to this model. Jump inside. I want to talk to you about second-hand cars. I'm going to become the second-hand car dealer now, but I think this was the whole point of this video, was to explain to you, not do a review on it like a brand new car, explain what you should be looking for. Well, this is a 2015 model. And it comes with a couple of things as standards, like aircon, for example. So you've got aircon with this car, and you get cruise control. One thing you don't get, it's quite important to note this, on the 2015, it doesn't come as standard with the nav system. So there's no nav on this. However, we've found you can work it through your phone. I'll explain that in a second, because there's a problem with the phone. If you plug the phone into the USB here to charge it, you can't use the Bluetooth function. So it sort of defeats the object, to be honest with you. It's a great idea, but because there's no Apple Play on this car, again until the 2016 version, you're sort of stuck with the Bluetooth, but you can't use Bluetooth when it's charging. A good thing to note. So cars from around 2014, 2015, for a good one, you'd probably be looking around about 4,000 to 4,500. For a superb 2015, you don't really want to pay any more than about £5,900, £6,000. And then you obviously can go cheaper, 2012, 2013, but watch out, because there are a couple of different models involved in that. Simple things to look for, simple things. Handbrake, for example, if it's up here like that, it's been ragged. Some idiot has had hold of it and they've been handbrake turning it, so it's been wrenched, and it's a sure sign that the car has been heavily used. Obviously the mileage, but mileage these days can be tampered with. Look for a full service history, always good. In the glove box here, there should be your logbook and your owner's manual as well. If it's not there, it's gone, and someone's trying to sell it to you, then think twice about it. Get a proper check using the number plate as well. Very, very important things. So unfortunately, there are a couple of bits that this car doesn't have, but one thing it does have is a lovely fascia finish. It has this piano black finish in here. I think that's all nice as well. And obviously you get a standard analog dashboard with a couple of nice digital bits in the middle. It's cheap to insure, it looks smart, it's ticking all the boxes, it's the right price. Let's get it out on the road and see what it actually runs like. So here we are out on the road in the little Corsa, and I've got to say, this is a real driver's car. It's the type of car you jump in, you know immediately someone who designed this loves cars, because everything's in the right place, the seating position's all good. it just all sort of fits around you. Do you know what I mean? Well, if you don't, then you haven't driven enough cars. But I've driven a lot of cars, and there's always those that I jump in and immediately go, this is driver's car. It's also an exceptional learner's car, and I say that for a reason, because I think we mentioned this could be the second car in the household. It's also one of the perfect cars for a young driver to get to grips with and to start to take their first steps out on the road. And I say it's a good car for a learner because, one, it's got some very good visibility in this car. The windscreen is massive. You've got a lot of angles where a learner driver can look, can see. I think that makes a huge difference when you're teaching someone to drive, and it's having that confidence as well as the person sitting next to that learner driver. And trust me, I know this, guys. I really do know what this feels like. This is a little 1.2 naturally aspirated engine. It's not going to go shooting off down the road, even if they push the accelerator instead of the brake. It's going to go, of course it is, because it's a car, but it's not going to take off and frighten the life out of you. And don't forget, you've got that wonderful strong handbrake in the middle there, and if you need to, you can pull that handbrake up. So we said it is good for a learner driver, but it's also good as a second car as well. So, you know, just as a car for buzzing around, going down the shops, or just picking stuff up with all that space in the back, it's absolutely superb for that. You can buy a decent car, decent Corsa, especially the limited edition versions. 2013 model would cost you around £3,500, and the 2015, which is what I'm driving here today, this particular one costs £6,000. And the reason for that was it hasn't got a single stone chip on it, and it had only done around about 14,000 miles, considering it's 5 years old. It's very low mileage. So you can find those rare little gems of cars like this one, but you've got to pay a little bit extra for them. Now, once you've got the car, there are going to be, especially an older car, you're going to have to start thinking about things like a new exhaust. Maybe it's rotted, or you know, you're going to replace it. A rear back box on this car will cost around £70. That's UK pounds again. A centre section around £50-60 plus fitting. Don't forget that. I'm only quoting you the part prices. However, if you need a full exhaust, highly unusual if you did, £320. Lambda sensor, now they do go. Now a lambda sensor, pre-catalytic converter, will cost you around about £75-80. The post, in other words, with the catalytic converter, you're talking about £150. So you don't want one of those going that often, hopefully. A new battery, about £150. Not cheap, really not cheap. A set of shocks for this. Front shock absorbers on this car, £75, similar to the rear as well. Brakes, $33-35 to the rears. Not bad at all. Tyres. Now that's something that's going to wear out quite, you know, reasonably often, every year, maybe two. A set of tyres, they're 275, 45, 17s. Remember we said they're 17-inch alloys. 45 low profile. Probably not the best for a learner driver, or maybe a nervous driver, because that low profile means that alloy is very close to the curb edge, and when you're learning to drive and parking, quite often you do bump up the curb. So maybe not put those tyres on to start with. Put on something a little bit higher and then drop down. As soon as you pass your test, you get those low profiles on and look really good. Decent budget low profile, 275, diameter 17, 45. £68. It's not bad. You can get a Uniroyal rain tyre, which is what I highly recommend. I'm not sponsored by them. I just really love those tyres, especially on the front. Rain tyre from Uniroyal, about £98. And you can get run flats. Don't forget, this doesn't have a spare wheel with it, so you could be better off putting a set of run flats on it. So they will cost you about £150. I'm sure Vauxhall stroke Corsa do a space saver that you can add to this car, but most of the cars that I've seen second hand don't have the space saver. They just have that stupid puncture repair outfit. Servicing, now that's an important one. If you've got a logbook and it's been serviced in, you know, and it's got a good service history, you want to take it back to the main dealer. Main dealer service on this, you're looking at around about £160
for the interim service. If you want a full service, just over 300 UK pounds. And I think you'll find Corsa, the Opel and Vauxhall, very similar pricing throughout the world. So I don't think you're going to be paying in whatever currency that you're in, dollars, whatever, you know, euros, whatever. I think it's going to find it's very, very similar. Now, let's talk about insurance, because I think that's one of the hardest things to evaluate. You don't get a chance to ask other people how much they paid for their insurance. And I can tell you now, we've done a lot of research on this, and I found that if you are a 17-year-old driver learning to drive, for example, to insure this car, that's a Group 3 car, in the UK is around about £1,500 to £1,600 per year. It's quite a lot of money, but then when you compare it to some of the other cars, the Fords for example, you suddenly jumping way up to about £2,500 to £3,000 per year for insurance for a young driver, which is quite a lot of money when it comes down to it. So this car is especially good when it comes to insurance, and I think that's what's made it, one, very popular with the youngsters who want to buy one or want their parents to buy them one of these and use it for their first car and to take their driving test. It's a superb car for that. There is another way of insuring this car, and it's called provisional driving insurance. Now you can actually drive this car even though you haven't paid your you haven't passed your test. You do have to have a parent or guardian or a named driver over the age of 25 who has held a full license for at least 2 years to be a named driver on the policy. But that policy, until you pass your test, is £360 for the year. There's a number of providers, guys. Just have a look on the internet. It's well worth a look. I'm not going to name any because none of them sponsor me. If any of them want to sponsor me, that's a completely different kettle of fish. Then I'll start naming them. But up until now, there are a number, and I'm sure if you've already looked, you'll know the names I'm talking about. So it's a big difference. And what they also do, when you pass your test, you can then change that to full insurance, and instead of paying the £1,600 or the £1,500, you will get X amount of money back from the policy that you took out originally, the provisional driver insurance policy. So let's say you took the policy out and you pass after 2 months, you will have 10 months to come back. So they work it out, it's a ratio less a couple of figures. I don't know how much it's going to be because I never did it, to be honest with you, but it's well worth looking into that. Provisional driving insurance. You must insure the car as the owner of the car. So if you are a youngster buying this car, you need to be the owner on the car. It's actually cheaper than getting a parent or a guardian to own the car and put you as a named driver. That's what we used to do when I was a kid. It doesn't work these days. They like you to be the driver, and then they can stick a black box under the bonnet. They can monitor what you do, and after a year you start to get your no claims bonus, and that is what it's all about at the end of the day. If you've got parents that have decent insurances, decent cars, whatever, it doesn't matter what type of car they've got. You just don't want somebody who's been disqualified or something like that, so look out for that. Well, to be honest, I think we've pretty much covered everything, what it's like to buy one of these cars second hand, the values, why would you choose one of these, things like that. There you go, I've given my answer. You might not agree. If you don't, then don't forget, there's a comment box down the bottom. Give me your comments, I really appreciate that. If you do like what we do, there's hundreds more videos on the Player YouTube channel. Please go and check them out. Also check out, we have a bookazine, a magazine. It's a magazine with a hardback cover. It's down there, it's called The Player, www.theplayer.co.uk. It's just come up down there. Go and have a look at it. It's free to subscribe, and we talk about tons and tons of things. We've got cars, we've got boats, we've got planes, we've got golf, wine, interviews, everything that us guys really love. I hope you found this informative. It wasn't my normal video that we do when we review a brand new car, but I just felt it would be good to do a couple of second-hand cars just to show you what the market's like and the costs of running these cars as well. Like, subscribe, I already mentioned the comment. I'll catch you next week with another car. It's going to be another second-hand car. I know what it is, you don't. Check back next week or leave the bell on the subscribe button open and it will notify you when I upload it. Guys, safe driving. Take it easy.